Hello, everybody. I'm Dorothy, professional astrologer. We're going to talk about the weekend, and we're in it. I'm recording this Saturday morning, October 1st. I'm going to post it right away. So I'm going to talk about Saturday and Sunday, October 1st, October 2nd, because there is a lot going on right now. And, I am trying to post this at last minute. We'll see if Mercury agrees with me. So I'm going to share my screen. And if you're new, welcome. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That's what I would love for you to do. And if you are new, I'm going to talk about the astrology, how we can use it in very logical, practical ways, as well as, since you can see I'm sharing my screen, showing you, and for those of you who are the astrologers and practicing astrologers or astrology enthusiasts, learning how to read the charts, I'm going to show you what I'm looking at and how we put it all together. And then at the end, we always do Astro dice. Maybe not always. I try to remember to do them, and we'll pull a card from that deck because it just gives us additional content. We don't talk about houses. We don't talk about the ascendant and midheaven because everybody lives in a different place. I am Eastern Daylight Time, so when I give you a time, adjust to your own time zone. There you go. That's the housekeeping. Let's get started. Here we are today, Saturday, October 1st, 2:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is exactly when Venus in her own sign of Libra, happy here. We are looking for balance and harmony. This great benefic Venus in her own sign, opposite Jupiter in the sign of Aries. This opposition is, I love these oppositions because it creates awareness. It creates full on openness and awareness, whether we like it or not, honestly. But the awareness here can have to do with, since we're talking about Venus and Libra, is the balance in our relationships or your own life balance. Finding that we're going to see, and we are seeing a lot of people these days, the political competitions here in the US, we're in that midterm piece, and we're seeing a lot of competition. And so I want you to bring it into you, and I want you to look at in your own life, if you're feeling competitive, just examine these things. I'm not going to tell you how to use it. I want, what to do with it, but that's your call. But examine these things, because when we have Venus opposite Jupiter, the things we focus on relating to those partnerships and relationships, whether it's, a domestic relationship, a financial partnership, a business partnership, something is being shown to us and for us to be aware of. Okay. That's what this aspect just for Saturday is about. There's a lot going on in these 48 hours. So yeah, take your time. We can see Mercury is right there. It's stationary. It's going to go direct tomorrow, the next day. So on the 2nd. So we'll get to that. So that's the first thing we want to look at. Another thing throughout the whole weekend is Mercury. Look over here in this area. This is another type of measurement. It's like the altitude. If we're talking about airplanes, but in the sky, we call this declination with the planets. And this moon, if you see it rising in this evening sky, it is, well, it's not rising in the evening sky. We're going to see it. We see it as it's setting because it's very close to the sun right now. We're in the first quarter. It's rising very low, and it's staying very low in the sky. Low meaning south, very south. And that's what this measurement represents. So with the moon in Sagittarius today, opposite Mars in Gemini, a lot of conversation, another opposition here. So there's a lot of conversation going on. And with the moon in Sagittarius in its out of bounds area in the very south, it means that, we have this very fiery emotion going on around us. Others, maybe even yourself, especially if your moon is in a fire sign, you're going to be feeling the energy of this intensely throughout the weekend until the moon enters Capricorn. That's another story. We'll get to that when it happens. All right. I have talked about this as well. There's not an exact aspect between Saturn and Uranus. And if you will, please go ahead and look in this top left-hand corner. That's where you will depending on what you're looking at, you'll be able to see what chart I have up. So Saturn Uranus square only, they get within 37 minutes of each other. Okay. And that just represents, that's just how tight they are. And they will be that tight for 5 days. So October 1st to the 5th with Saturn and Uranus making that 90-degree angle to each other. Here they are, both at 18 degrees, just a few minutes off by just a few minutes. That can create, this is for a lot of people creating a lot of tension, a lot of stress, feeling like something is just about to give, like either you've got too much weight on your shoulders and something's about to break, or let's put this into a more less fear-based place, that you feel like something really is about to shift and change. And it is. And it is. And we have October and November are quite dynamic this year. When is it not? But it really is. There's a lot of stressful transits happening over the next number of weeks. And this is part of it. So I want you to go within yourself, look at what you can manage and can control yourself, right? And when you're feeling like something is about to break or something is about to give, be open for things to change, right? Because when things, not everything, but when things are, coming to an end, or they just need to shift. So this is a big energetic shift, but physically, you can physically feel it and see it. And if you're aware, something is about to change. So when things change, we always have to find a different way to approach things. That's what the Uranus is all about. So that we are feeling that. I mean, we really are feeling it now, just because I've picked these dates. It's when they're the closest. However, depending on your stress levels, it could have peaked last week. It might peak next week. But look, again, when we get to those stressful points, we don't have to get to the point where we have breakdowns. Because if you can see something is coming, find a way to let some of that pressure out. Find a new way to let some of that pressure out, whatever that pressure is for you. I know we are all under a lot of stress. How are you managing it? Your body is going to tell you, and your mental health is going to tell you. I know it's just not easy. It really isn't. I'm looking for my ephemeris. All right. So now we have this first quarter moon, and that's what I want to get to now. Let me flip my page here. I always have a lot of stuff to talk about, but I don't want to do the first quarter moon yet. I want to talk about Mercury direct, because that happens 5:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday, October 2nd. And this is just what it looks like for me in my latitude and longitude. It might not be on the ascendant for you, because it depends on where you live. Like I already established that in the beginning. So Mercury stationary 24 degrees and 11 minutes. So I always know when this little bad boy is stationary, to me, this is when it gives me more trouble than anything else, because, I am a Gemini. Mercury is my ruling planet. If you're a Virgo, it's also your ruling planet. It just is difficult to accomplish things. So why I'm doing this at the last minute, we'll see if it works. We'll see if it even goes up. I am recording it. I had some troubles with YouTube this morning. Oh, I swear to God, I'm having troubles with Facebook Meta. What a pain in the ass that is. Every time you turn around, you have to do an extra step and another step and another step. See, those are my frustrations. Mercury stationary. What are yours? You can tell me. And it is opposite Neptune. Only away by, we can look at it right over here. You can see the aspectarian. Mercury is opposite Neptune. That's what it looks like here. And that's what it looks like in the aspectarian. It's only off by 35 minutes, which is less than half a degree, which is a half a degree, a little over. And so that is a sense of all stop, but we're stopping in the fog, either that, or we're just, creating illusions for ourselves. Not a lot of clarity, but that will start to shift within a day or two. At this point, that Mercury is stationary to direct. The moon does enter the sign of Capricorn. 0 degrees of Capricorn, 0 cardinal points, which this are very important times every single month. It happens 4 times a month when the moon gets to a 0 cardinal point. 0 Aries, 0 Cancer, 0 Libra, and 0 Capricorn. And right now that 0 Capricorn moon activates the Venus Jupiter. So and it's still way out of bounds. So when this shifts, when Mercury is stationary, the moon enters Capricorn, out of bounds. This to me is like Sunday morning. Thank goodness it's early in the morning, because it's just, you might have a hard time getting up that morning. Moving forward, it just feels like it could be a little stuck. And then the other thing I want to talk about, we are in that last quarter, the first quarter moon, and that is also on Sunday. That isn't until 8:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I always talk about these because there's a lunar gestation cycle that we like to work with. So the first quarter moon, which this is when the moon makes a 90-degree angle to where the sun is, the moon in Capricorn, sun in Libra. This feels like there is some stress and some struggle, because those are also the first square of the moon from the new moon phase creates stress, tension, and struggle, but it's usually worth it. It doesn't have to be all of those things, but it just means something is taking effort. So whatever you may have started at the new moon a week ago, let's grab that real quick. The new moon was at 2 degrees of Libra. So whatever you may have started on September 25th. So again, that was just a little over a week ago. And just under a week ago, it was a week ago, it's last Sunday. Maybe whatever you may have started or began at that point in time, now is at a point where there is a struggle related to it. But a struggle means I have a lot of work to do. It doesn't have to be, the end of the world. It just means, sometimes, let me do the lunar gestation cycle too. It just means that there's a lot going on. And here is that new moon that is actually from 9 months ago, that is very much related to the first quarter moon that we're looking at today. Here was that new moon in Capricorn back on January 2nd, 2022. I'm going to tell you this right now. I remember talking about that back in January. This new moon is when I always tell people, if they're going to do new moon, if they're going to do New Year resolutions, to wait till the new moon in Capricorn, as long as it's after January 1st. And this one was right after January 1st. So what was your look at your new moon resolutions? Look at your New Year resolutions for 2022. And today, now, I want you to see if something has come to fruition from that New Year / new moon resolution on January 2nd. Now is when it will show up for you to say, wow, I'm doing great. A lot of people like to set, I don't know, what's typical? I'm going on a diet, I'm going to lose weight. That's typical for a New Year resolution. So if you were one of those people who did that, then now 9 months later, you can see what you've accomplished and or what you haven't. Maybe you need to recommit. Maybe there's just more work to do because you didn't get as far as you had anticipated, whatever it is, whether it's a career goal, losing weight, whatever your New Year resolution was. January 2nd was also the new moon resolution, is also tied to this first quarter moon, which is on Sunday. Okay, Sunday the 2nd. Yeah, that's what that is. That's a lot. I'm going to just stop my share. Wow. I said more than I anticipated. This is going longer than I expected. So while I'm going to roll these dice, and if you're new with these, you can get them online. Don't pay $50 for these, please. That's so expensive, but you can if you want. But I've had these forever when they were like $10, and then I just bought some new Astro dice because mine got all wore out. I've been using them for about a long time. All right. And I just made a thing in my my community about the advertisements here on YouTube. They're driving me nuts. They're all political. I don't want to feed that fear machine. So I'm most likely going to turn ads off until after the elections are over. And if you would like to financially support me, because I'm going to lose that ad revenue, it's not a huge amount because I'm not a big YouTuber, but I do add a lot of content here. But anyways, please, consider making a financial donation if you like, or come and join me on Patreon or not. I'm not a big marketer. I'm not going to push you, but I am going to turn the advertisements off. I can't stand that political bullshit. It's terrible. It doesn't matter even who you are. Let's roll the dice. That's that. Let's shift gears, put a period in that. We're going to move on. Spirit, what do you want us to know? What is in addition do you want us to know? Gemini, South Node. Okay, the South Node in Gemini in the 12th house. Boy, watch that self-talk. That's what that is. The South Node and the 12th house are both about our karmic pasts, right? And then the sign of Gemini showed up. I think I can show it to you. Yeah, the sign of Gemini showed up. So that just tells me it's like, some of us may have new communications with people from our past, things that need to be cleared up, but do some, this would be to me as well, like ancestral work. It is all about self-talk, what we believe, what we share for information and content. So that is what it's telling us. It's telling us to pay close attention, again, because the fear that's out there, the fear that's being spewed these days it's not healthy. And we as a collective and as humanity, and then even as individuals, we can not feed into that as well. I know everybody has their thing. I can't help everybody. Right? It's chilly in here today. I didn't turn the heat up yet. Why I have my stuff on. It's like 50. It's cold. I don't want to be cold. Like I need to move south, but it's a little dangerous down there right now. Prayer feather comes up. I see this. So this is this is even like 12th house stuff as well, because it's like saying your prayers. What this tradition is, that in the way I understand it, if I'm wrong, you are welcome to correct me. We would just you'd take a feather and paint it, or put, your energy into it. You can hang it on a tree, and your hopes, dreams, wishes are carried to spirit. Or you can just, I pick up feathers all the time off the ground, and then I just let them go after I've said what I want to say into it, and they just float away. So it's about, really connecting with spirit. So it's very similar to that 12th house and the South Node that we picked, and even the Gemini, because the prayer feather is about sending messages off to spirit, speaking to spirit, talking to your God, and just trying to, bring that positive energy into your life. All right, this is way longer than I anticipated, everybody. Thank you so much. And the best way to help me here is to share this on your social media groups. Thumbs up. Blessings, everybody. See you next week. Namaste.